I'm Nick DiMatteo, and welcome to Music is Not a Genre, the interview edition. With me today, I'm very excited for this week's guest, is Paul Leschen. He is a musician, composer, piano karaoke expert who is a frequent performer at Sid Gold's every Tuesday night. He is also the creator of Leschen Sessions, which we're going to talk a little bit about later, and apparently is able to predict the future through original musicals. Paul, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing just great. Thanks, Nick.
Great.
Thanks for having me on.
Tell me your story.
Well, Nick, I was a bit of a child prodigy piano player. I could play by ear when I was 3 or 4 years old, and developed that skill over the years up until about when I was in awkward 8th grade and figured out how to pretty much play anything that I could hear on the piano, as long as it wasn't like technically ridiculous. You know, I can't sit down and play a Rachmaninoff concerto like certain movie story plot lines. But and from there, you know, throughout college and beyond, it's been a struggle to try to live up to my potential that I displayed at age 4. You know. And I always feel like I was born a little bit too early. You know, I've always felt older and yet of a different generation. My parents were the firstborns of the baby boomers, and I was their firstborn. So I think a lot of people who are Generation X and my age were raised with more old-fashioned conservative parents, which I think aligns me a little bit with millennials. But then, you know, I have this time period in my life with dial phones and, you know, cable boxes that you walk up to and press the buttons that, you know, younger people never had. So I don't know, I always feel like kind of left behind society as it catches up to me. It's hard to describe, but musically, it's a pretty important part of my story.
It sounds like it. So you're saying that you feel like you're out of step with time in the sense that you are more akin to a younger generation?
In attitude and in, you know, for instance, I'm a gay guy, and I feel like it's taken society 30 years to catch up to that, you know, where you could jump out of the closet and everything I wanted to happen has happened, but I was from the past. And if, you know, I had this modern outlook and all of these grand ideas, like I wanted to make music with what became Logic. I wanted to sit there and record the drums and record the piano and record many vocal tracks. And all I could do is record it into a Tascam. Next up in that story is how when I was growing up, you would have to listen to the radio, have a parent who plays you interesting music, or go to a record store and have somebody drive you there and flip through and ask people what to buy to like enrich yourself musically, or maybe a piano teacher local. But when you're growing up now, you have everything ever recorded available to be listened to and studied at age 4 and beyond. And the child's brain soaks things up different than our brains, right? You know, if we listen to a new genre of music now, we might love it, but we're never going to master it in the way that if you listen to it when you were 4.
Okay, yeah. So just like learning a language or anything like that, there's a kind of a plasticity to the brain that it's more malleable at a younger age than, yeah.
And ditto for digital recording software. You know, I feel like a bit of a okay boomer when I'm making tracks in Logic and trying to compress things. When I just said okay boomer and my phone just okay Googled, excuse me. No.
Yeah. Perfect example. Your device is responding to you. That you know.
And now, being a guitar player and a piano player is a habit, a hobby. It's kind of like being a woodworker in the 1990s. You know, it's a trade. It's an apprenticeship. It's dumb and it's pretty useless, honestly. It's edifying, but as a career, as a path, I think it's a little bit old-fashioned.
Wow, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, so much of what you said is resonating with me. I think I'll just start with the fact that I had a very similar upbringing. not the prodigy part. I think I was, my skill early on was probably songwriting was the thing that I was best at. I learned, I trained piano and voice and all of that. And yeah, I think, I grew into my voice, but piano was the thing that I can do, but not to like this, to hear that you kind of jumped into it that way and were able to play things by ear. I do think having a father or a parent who exposes you to all kinds of music was kind of an important thing. And I had the same thing. And I experienced all that going to record stores and having to really hunt down music and making appointments with the radio. If you knew that a certain program was on, they were going to spin a certain kind of music or whatever it was. To the effort that you'd have to put forth to experience and absorb everything that's just at your fingertips today.
Not to mention, let's talk about YouTube, With a child prodigy now is all over YouTube and discovered by Ellen DeGeneres and put on the show, very cute and young and bright-eyed. And, there you go. There's your origin story. But for us, what did we have? A talent show in Setauket, New York, we had no way to get our songs for you get your songwriting out there except putting on a I mean, I don't know how old you are specifically, but on a CD or a tape and sending it in the mail with a stamp on it to everybody that you can. Each one would cost about $2.50.